Swamp Things, a podcast revisiting legendary runs.
I know this will sound crazy, John, but it was really erotic.
How so? Thought you said you were dreaming you were a plant.
Yeah, but it was more than just my mind in this plant. I was an orchid, from my root tips to my stamen.
And the butterfly?
He was probing me, drinking me, pollinating me.
And that's when you went lucid?
That's when I saw I was dreaming. So I immediately concentrated on piercing through the symbolism.
Explain that.
My research has shown that dreams are cloaked in images from the personal unconscious. Lucid dreaming allows me to burn through that, to get at what the dream is really trying to tell me.
And in this case?
It turned into a nightmare.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Swamp Things, a podcast where we'll be retracing classic Swamp Thing runs from beginning to end. In this, our third season, we are retracing Rick Veitch's run following Alan Moore. I'm Robert Reineke. I read these books during their initial run, and I'll be reading these books as they are published, as they come out to complete the run. Which brings me to our guest, Rob Veatch. Rob Veatch is co-hosting through the opening stretch of Rick Veitch's run. To the best of my knowledge, Rob hasn't read these issues before, so welcome back, Rob.
Hey, thanks, Robert. Yep, first time for me. Having fun with these cool new branch of the DC universe for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It is good. The opening reading, which led off the show, is from Swamp Thing number 70. Rob Veitch did the reading. I have some other readers lined up, but if any of our listeners would like to do readings, please send me an email. And I'll have my email at the end of the episode. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Eisner Hall of Fame colorist Tatiana Wood, just 3 days shy of her 100th birthday. I've always tried to highlight the entire Swamp Thing creative team, and Tatiana Wood had always been a key contributor as far as I'm concerned. And the glowing testimonials to her talent and personality following her death have been heartening. So, rest in peace, Tatiana Wood. With that out of the way, a little bit of background on what came before. Prior to us getting into this issue, Swamp Thing has defeated the efforts of the Parliament of Trees to trap him in the Parliament, but still has not been able to find a suitable home for the elemental sprout. And retirement for Swamp Thing with Abby is looking very unlikely. And that brings us to Swamp Thing number 70, entitled The Secret Life of Plants, with a cover date of March 1988. The Grand Comics database lists a publication date of November 24th, 1987, right around Thanksgiving. There's a suggestion for mature reader sticker on the cover, and the price is $1.25. For further context, I pulled out the original issue, and I have the checklist of what else DC was publishing in the direct market for that month. We would have things like Green Arrow number 2 by Mike Grell and Ed Hannigan and Dick Giorgiano. Forever People number 2 by J.M. DeMatteis, Paris Cullens, and Carl Kessel. Hellblazer number 2, Young All-Stars number 10, Legion of Superheroes number 44, Swamp Thing number 70, of course, Infinity Inc. number 48, New Teen Titans number 41, The Shadow number 8 with new artist Kyle Baker taking over for Bill Sienkiewicz. Black Hawk number 1 with Howard Chaykin, that deluxe miniseries. The hardcover collection of the greatest Superman stories ever told. The Spectre number 12 by Doug Mensch and Gray Morrow. Question number 14 by Denny O'Neil, Dennis Cohen, and Rick Magyar. And Wasteland number 4 by John Ostrander and Del Close. So you kind of see what the DC universe was at the time, at least in the direct market, more adult section of it was.
Yeah. That's
So,
cool. Yeah. Oh, I kind of perked up at the shadow with you said Kyle Baker taking over from Bill Sienkiewicz.
yep.
Ooh,
Following up,
that
following
sounds
up
that
on
sounds cool.
the Howard Chaykin miniseries, a
Okay,
series,
which I think I have
yeah,
somewhere. Yeah,
the Kyle
that's
Baker,
cool.
Andy Helfer series got so wild that the owner of the Shadow pulled the license.
Oh, really? All right.
So, so let's get into it now. Rick Veitch did the cover. Uh, the cover features John Constantine standing before what's apparently a member of the Parliament of Trees, and the Swamp Thing logo is partially obscured by the branches atop the Parliament member. And of course, John is lighting up.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so, thoughts on the cover?
Yeah, looking at this, I was wondering if it was just kind of like Veach wanted to do an alternate interpretation of that same swamp thing that what was the name? Like it was
Alex
something
Olson or
similar.
Alex Olson, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering if that represented the same one or yeah, just another of the retired parliament
Hmm.
the former protectors of the green. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I think it's an interesting design. Or it's pretty much
yeah,
all head.
just
Although maybe there is some legs at the back there, possibly, but it's pretty much he's devolved or maybe evolved into being all head.
yeah.
Just the knowledge there.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like how I didn't really notice, but I like how they put the title just like kind of in between his branches
Yeah.
up there. That's really cool.
I feel it's suitable that, Constantine is on the cover, just because he takes up so much of this issue. I mean, I would say he's in most of this issue.
Oh yeah.
It's
I
yeah,
mean,
he's probably the prime mover of this issue.
hmm nearly every page. Yeah.
Yeah, nearly every. Um, we'll get into it. There's usually a three-tier structure to this issue. It usually takes up two of those tiers with
Uh-huh.
Swamp Thing in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
But that's interesting structure. I like the cover too. I think the coloring is very nice. I'm assuming Tatiana
Yeah.
Wood did the color, and I like how there's kind of a gradient from darker orange, reddish orange at the top to a lighter one at the bottom.
hmm
So that looks very nice, and it's just a Swamp Thing featuring John Constantine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not been missing from this book for long.
Right. Yeah. I went away for a little bit, but
Got the first two issues of his book published.
yeah.
Now returning.
Yeah, back in full force.
Yeah. Um. So let's get on here. The credits for this issue. The script is by Rick Veitch. The pencils are by Bret Ewins and Rick Veitch. Um, the inks are by Alfredo Alcala. It's edited by Karen Berger. Colors are by Tatiana Wood, and the letters are by John Costanza. Um, page one, I guess it is. We kind of see this three-tier structure already kind of developing here. You have kind of a monarch butterfly pollinating a flower turns into a passing passenger jet as is in a dream, while in the middle there's kind of like a plant sprouting an eye. This first page was the basis of reading one, my question is that a marijuana plant?
That was certainly my thought too. And I think, yeah, eventually, I think we get all but confirmation of that.
Yes, I think, which is, that's got to be one of the first times that it's been in a DC comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it's all over. If we went through underground comics, we could probably find uh, a bunch of examples of this, but that seems like the first time here. And
Yeah.
it has a suggestion for mature readers. It's direct market only, so. um, I note that I think the dream sequence is effective here.
Mhm.
Even the transition. I note that this is kind of very much in the style that will be Roaring Rick's Rick Fiends, which was self-published by Rick Veitch under the King Hell Press title.
Yeah.
Where he's also done stuff like Brat Pack and True Man, the Max Immortal,
Mhm.
with the other option. And then Roaring Rick's Rick Fiends was his kind of dream journal comic at the
Yeah.
time, and kind of see some of the origins of that here.
Yeah.
I mean, in the next page, I think we kind of see how the book is mostly going to be laid out here. We get 3 panels stretched across the big 2-page spread. 3 tiers. I mean, the top tier continues the story that started on the previous page, which is the explanation of the dream sequence. Then we have a middle tier of uh, Chester kind of giving Liz a typewriter, maybe to kind of shake her out of her funk a little bit, and then Constantine is speaking to a gardener that is in tune with the nature, I guess, of the bottom there, and this is kind of like how it will be laid out at the beginning. Constantine, something in Huma or Swamp Thing, and then Constantine again.
Yeah.
Kind of, I suppose you could read it just as a page. 3 tiers, go to the next page that continues, just kind of jump around in space and time, or you can just read it across the 2-page spread. I think it works both ways.
That's yeah. I when I got to page two here, I think I initially read it, just went down
Mm-hmm.
page two and then page three. But
Yeah.
then once I did that, it felt to me like they're all meant to be read straight across
Yeah,
as like a two-page spread.
that's how I ultimately decided to read it.
Yeah. But you're right. The panels there's only there's only a few pages in here where I think the panels actually break across the
Yeah, there
midline.
are a few. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's not quite a strict 18 panel grid,
Hmm.
or but it is close to one. Usually there's one where they'll do like 5 panels and one where they have like one panel's extra size. But
Yeah.
I think the last panel on page 3 is the one that takes up the space of 2 panels. But
Hmm.
everything else is kind of 3 panel grid times two,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
9 panel grid times two. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah. Which is, but I kind of feel this kind of works with uh Beach's um interpretation. Well, Beach's interpretation of Swamp Thing, who's really not tied to a physical body per se, but he can change, screw himself into a body and change shape or disconnect himself from physical and become with it. So as well, he kind of removed some of the limitations on Swamp Thing even more than Alan Moore did. He's kind of playing with that. He's kind of removing that, the page layouts don't have to be what they were originally. They can be a little bit more inventive.
Right.
Yeah, and I like seeing John Constantine at work
Uh-huh.
doing the investigate. We really didn't see that during the Alan Moore run. I mean, John showed up with the answers pretty much on the spot, but now we kind of see how he arrives at the answers and what kind of steps he has to take to get there. So when he
Yeah.
does show up, he's done the work.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly, I mean, when he showed up in this book previously, it's been mostly with Swamp Thing. Like he's
Yeah.
coming into a scene to interact with Swamp Thing. But yeah, this one he's going around and meet all kinds of different people, and we're with him,
Yes.
you know. Yeah.
He's getting some things filled in and he knows where to go apparently, and we don't know how he gets from place to place.
Yeah.
But he gets from place to place and he knows where to go. But he's doing the legwork.
Yeah.
And I also note a weird parallel that the gardener is formerly from the Ukraine and that he complains about invading Russians.
Right.
I guess that was
Yeah.
back in the 40s, so he's probably like in his he looks like he's in his 60s or 70s, so
Yeah. I
would,
actually noticed
yeah.
the way that guy is drawn, I kind of wonder if he was if Veatch like drew him with the intent to have a big bushy mustache, but then he was colored uh just with that part as flesh tone.
Yeah,
I can kind
I
of see
could
it
see
either
that.
way.
Yeah, especially in that bottom of page 2 in that bottom right-hand panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have gone either way there.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess some of the other panels it doesn't look like it. So yeah.
But it certainly does look like it in that one panel, but
Yeah.
just wrinkly, I guess.
Yeah, that it could just be that.
So, I mean, they have the discussion which carries over, and then we get to see this weird kind of carrot. That certainly looks like Swamp Thing there.
Yeah. Oh,
And
gosh, it reminds me of in Pan's Labyrinth. Looks
yeah,
like a little ginger root or something that yeah, looks like that, a little like anthropomorphic root.
yeah, I can see that. I
Yeah.
mean, and we're move on to page 4. We kind of see Swamp Thing returning to his home, circling around Abby's camping gear that she dropped, among other things.
Right. Yeah, and as I initially read this, I was thinking maybe this was the sprite because we don't often see Swamp Thing just moving in like energy form like this.
Yeah,
And he's kind of
occasionally, but
flying
yeah,
around and ping
yep,
ponging. Yeah.
yeah,
But I think you're right. By the next page, I think it's made clear that is Swamp Thing himself.
yeah. This is one that really kind of there's practically 4 tiers here,
Uh-huh.
with like kind of one
Yeah.
that stretches all the way across. But that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Again, you don't have to read it as a 2-page spread, but I'm reading it as a 2-page spread.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah,
then yeah,
that one long narrow strip definitely does go straight across the two
yeah.
pages. Yeah.
So, you can break it apart too, but even the one with Abby's backpack line there is kind of across 2 pages as well. So
Yep.
that's how I'm reading it. And this will, we'll get to it early, but here's our second reading of the issue. I'm going to insert it here.
Strip down, John. All the way down. Have a heart, Ming. I'm here for information, not for the treatment. So whatever happened to the lithe young fellow I once knew? Yeah, well, the first 100 years are the hardest. One look at you and I guarantee you won't make it 40. You're running yourself into the ground, John. How do you know that? I thought the age of miracles was over. Oh, we have our ways. The ancients taught that humans are interlaced with a network of electromagnetic energy. It's what makes the muscles work, what makes the brain function. Hold still now. This network is essential to the good health and long life of the individual. The ancients, in their wisdom, found a way to manipulate this network, to put it back in harmony with nature. Today we call this science acupuncture. Hey now, I'm not from Wigan. I'm quite familiar with the basics, thank you. What I need to know is what would happen in a specialized case. Say someone's electromagnetic spectrum was being altered by hidden means. Could you tell? That's a tough one. I'm pretty good at spotting diseases and sickness, but anything beyond that you'll need someone with the gift. There used to be an old wino in Gotham they said had the talent. His name is Dogbum. Yeah, I know him. Always wore that weird get-up on his head, didn't he? Used to see him all lathered up, wandering around the Bowery with his latest mutt. Who's this, Ming? In ancient China, he was a sorcerer with the heart of a Buddha, who later changed himself into a monster. They called him Ghost Hiding in the Rushes.
Constantine finishes up his conversation with the gardener at the top panel. In the third panel, he's visiting an acupuncturist, Ming, for some insight on energy, electromagnetic energy, and how it works in that. So, and Ming apparently, Constantine is the ladies' man
Yeah.
at this point, or at least he's a everything. Well, but at this point, he's a ladies' man.
Yeah.
And
He's pretty shredded in that one panel.
he is
He's
a
got
shot
kind
for
of
the ladies.
yeah. Yeah, he's kind of got superhero physique going on there. Although she comments that he looks like he's running himself into the ground. Which
The
is very
the
yeah.
smoking can't help.
Yeah.
And you carry over to the other page, and you get a pretty good view of Constantine too,
Yeah.
as you get the acupuncture.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I kind of wonder if what the female readership was on Swamp Thing at the time, because there must have been some.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine the percentage is pretty dang low.
I,
But not necessarily for this more than
I mean,
most or any of DC's other titles.
yeah, I have to imagine it's higher than some. I know Legion of Superheroes always had a pretty decent female readership. I
Hmm.
know well some other I have to wonder what maybe Teen Titans or New Teen Titans probably had a decent
I
female
was
readership.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking of. Yeah.
But I can't imagine that Superman ever had a great female readership.
Probably not a lot.
Not a lot, or most of the books I imagine. Maybe the war books I can't imagine that either. So I
Hmm.
mean, I know Swamp Thing, or not Swamp Thing. I thought Sandman was the big breakthrough with female leadership for a while there, and then
Interesting.
Vertigo in general. And I kind of assigned that to the Karen Berger influence. But
Huh. Okay.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. So I don't know exactly, but I kind of feel that there's something in there to that, and I feel like maybe they knew that they had something there. They wanted to see if they could juice it a little bit. Um, I also feel that I need to point out that the movie Hellraiser opened in September 1987 in
Ooh.
England. DC's John Constantine Hellblazer had its first issue in October. So little bit of timing there. I know that at one point they wanted to call it John Constantine Hellraiser, but we're beat to the trademark.
Oh wow.
But I kind of wonder here when I look at this, I wonder if John with the needle sticking out of him is kind of a subtle reference to Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Just a random thought that occurred to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I never made that connection, but the timing is really interesting. Yeah. And
I've
yeah, I
heard,
never knew that thing about the title
yeah.
either.
I don't know if Hellblazer is really a word. I've heard Hellraiser, but not Hellblazer.
Yeah.
But, be that as it may. And, Hellraiser was a big success. I mean, it grossed $30 million for like a $1 million budget. And that's
Whoa.
not too shabby.
Yeah.
That's not Blair Witch Project profitable, but that's profitable.
Yeah. Wow.
That's not even. It's probably Texas Chainsaw Massacre was more profitable, but still, that's kind of the conversation we're having about how profitable it was.
Right. Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I think that's it. I do note that I've been talking about this being like an 18 panel grid. Neither of the bottom two tiers on this page are 6 panels each, so I think the Swamp Thing one is just 4, and there's a shaman there, and that's a
Right.
1, 2, 3. That's a 5 panel grid.
Yeah, at the bottom.
Yeah, and even then they kind of squeeze like 4 onto one side of the page,
Huh?
or like 3.5 on one side and 1.5 on the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So might have had the idea we'll do this 18 panel grid setup, but I do like how the shaman lighting the fire is colored. How he kind of like he starts the fire and that kind of lights up the scene. I think that's a nice bit of storytelling by Rick Veitch there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it starts with that one thin, just black panel,
Yep,
and then the little like flint striking in the next one.
yep.
Yeah.
The flame from the fire is very a place for it to maximum hide the crotch.
Yeah. Strategic.
Very strategic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know what's going on there, and but we helpfully explain when we turn the page and we see Constantine is there too, and it's
Hmm.
our one bit of narration in this episode is from Constantine explaining what's going on there because I assume the shaman does not speak English.
Right. Yeah, it
So,
does kind of. Yeah, seems that way.
um, and I guess there is some sort of foreshadowing here because I don't know what. Well, I do know what Abby is going to be connected to it, but this is the first time I think we get a real clue that Abby just isn't along for the ride.
Okay.
Uh, and do we think Constantine's going to share this information with Abby and Alec? I don't, but
Yeah, maybe at some point, but he's gonna hold on to it until he
he's going to hold
until
on
he
to it
has an
most
advantage.
convenient.
Yeah.
I know we it's been established early on that soot cuts are Constantine's preferred brand and of cigarette, and I understand they're a British only brand. I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
I also understand that they're awful.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not that I
Really?
know much about cigarettes, but that's my impression. So maybe our British listeners can send an email and let us know what the deal is.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. The shaman seems to like him.
He does seem to like them.
Bargaining chip for him. Yeah.
you know, this is a pretty uh, reasonable trade for Constantine. A pack of cigarettes for some information. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see before this issue is over that he's willing to give up more for information.
Yeah.
and do more. I mean, he's already traded uh, acupuncture. I guess I'm not sure why Bing wants to do acupuncture on him. Then she thinks it'll be good for him. I guess
Yeah.
now he's trading cigarettes. We'll see that he'll give up more. In fact, we we see that, and then the middle panel is Swamp Thing arriving home and finding Abby apparently asleep and naked, and
Hmm.
we get a nice shot of Abby from lying down from behind, and I think this is a shot for the Jets, like Constantine with a shot for the ladies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Sure.
it's very nice. You can tell that Rick Veitch knows anatomy
Hmm.
and how to frame it. And I like how her hair flows there too.
Yeah.
That black stripe of her hair looks really nice in that image.
Yeah.
So, and then we get to see we flip to another scene where I presume Constantine was in South America, but I might be off on that. Maybe he's in North America. But then we flip to him back on the streets of Gotham and encountering Piggy Huntoon again, or Doctor
Uh-huh.
Huntoon.
Yeah.
And reading up well, he's browsing a portal mag. I hope he intends to buy it. And I know that you can clearly see a nipple in the portal mag that Dr. Huntoon is perusing in that
Yeah.
centerfolds. I know it's not the first time in the DC comic. I think you can see that in the first issue of Watchmen. You can see breasts,
Okay.
uh, and later on with Night Owl and Silk Spectre in the Owl ship, you can see breasts, but
Right.
it was certainly rare, even in the
Yeah.
'80s for it. It's still fairly rare for DC Comics to show a bare breast.
Yeah.
So you know, this is not a page that references Batman of all things. So I guess that's pushing boundaries in the
Right.
'80s.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this whole issue it's very sexual.
It is.
Like multiple scenes and the through line of I guess I'm getting ahead a little bit, but the through line of Swamp Thing and Abby is basically a sex scene that
Yes.
carries through that just
A,
threads
a
through most of
fairly,
this.
yeah, we'll be getting to that. I mean, I would say a fairly
Yeah.
graphic sex scene too.
Yeah.
Although he's using metaphor and Swamp Thing is Swamp Thing. He's not really anatomically correct, but still.
Right. It's graphic, but just in not in like human sexual
Yes.
terms, you know? Yeah.
And very metaphorical.
Yeah.
Metaphorically graphic? Is that a thing?
Yep, sure. Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. This is it.
Well, I mean, so yeah, I mean, we'll continue on to the next page. You know, uh, Constantine promises that he's going to give up uh, the phone number, the contact information for Diane, who Huntoon is still smitten with,
Hmm.
and then Abby and Swamp Thing. Abby welcomes Swamp Thing home with a hug and kiss. And this is going to lead to more.
Yep.
And then we get to Constantine in Metropolis with Brenda, who apparently works at the coroner's office. He's taking her out on drinks, fun, movie, um, wooing her, I guess. And he takes it to a morgue,
Yeah.
which is a very Constantine thing, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, follow up that date with a visit to the morgue. Yeah. Which is her
I,
place of work.
it is her place of work.
Yeah.
So there's a reason, and you can tell that he's up for it, up for information, and I think she's pretty uh, quick to catch up on that. Um, I will say I don't really think Tatiana quite figures out how to color Brenda as a Native American.
Yeah.
I mean, I took out my originals for comparison to what's in this reprint, and I think the reprint they did a little bit of trying to soften it a little bit, but I don't think it works in the reprint, and I
Mhm.
don't think it works in the original. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give Tatiana Wood the benefit of the doubt. It might be the limitations of coloring at the time,
Hmm.
or it may be Tatiana Wood's experience with that tone of skin. But DC had been publishing Dawn Star in Legion of Superheroes for close to a decade at the time, and I've always felt that they've gotten her closer to something acceptable than this is.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's
Yeah, I mean she's got sort of a rosy pinkish skin tone more than like a brown.
yes,
Definitely there's contrast between her and Constantine
yep,
in these scenes. Yeah. Flipping back, I think they use the same coloring on the shaman
yeah, but
as
I
they're
kind
using
of
for
give it
her.
I give it a kind
The
of a pass just because they're in a cave and the lady's kind of unnatural
Yes,
there.
the lighting of the scene definitely makes it like yeah, you accept the shaman there. It looks natural. Yeah, whereas with Brenda here, she stands out a little weirdly, as you're saying.
I mean, but you're right, it is the same coloring, and it's like, well, we have these colors. I used it before. I'll use it again. I feel is that so.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not god awful, but it is kind of stand out. It's kind of like, is she from Sinestro planet or is she a Native American? I kind of feel like is
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
But I do kind of like Brenda as a character. I don't know if she
Hmm.
showed up again and I don't think anything bad ever happened to her. But I haven't read all of Hellblazer, and I know Constantine spent some time in America there. But I know that she doesn't seem exactly put out by the idea of getting it on with John in the morgue. Surprised, maybe
Right.
a little, but not put out.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that yeah, you're talking about what he's offering, what he's given up for information. He's essentially trading sexual favors here.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it seems like they have somewhat of a relationship.
I don't think it's the first time between them.
No, but yeah, that's interesting.
And I think, strictly speaking, Constantine is in between relationships in there. I don't think he has a relationship after the first two issues of Hellblazer. So
Okay.
I think this is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
I'm not upset with him or anything, but
sure.
I mean, I feel that Constantine will get it on with anybody basically, but he won't cheat.
Uh-huh. Okay.
At least that's how I
There you
interpret
go.
him. But I think I'll try anything once. That's my model. Yeah, that kind of sums up Constantine to me.
Yeah.
I do know that there's a typo on this page.
Oh,
I
did
don't
I
know if
catch
that's
it?
by Rick Veitch or is it by Constanza, or maybe it was by Rick Veitch and Karen Berger did catch it, or maybe it's Constanza's part and Karen Berger didn't catch it. But they say Monarch Airlines runs a computer service between Gotham and Metropolis. It should say Monarch Airlines runs a commuter service between Gotham and Metropolis.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Yeah, I read that as computer service, and I was like, I don't know if I understand that, but maybe it made more sense in 1988.
No.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, if that word is commuter, then it's like, oh, okay.
It makes
Much more
yeah,
clear.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody messed up and somebody didn't catch it. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
I do know a little fun detail here. The corpse has a toe tag that says data DOA SR Bissett.
Yeah. I got that too.
So I understand Rick and Steven are friends, so
Hmm.
I feel like just a little in joke between the two of them, but I'm sure Steven found that fun.
Yeah.
So that's the top tier. Um, and I like that. The middle tier, Swamp Thing and Abby are getting hot and heavy pretty easily,
Hmm.
uh, and pretty quickly. Uh, right with her digging her fingers into Swamp Thing's back while
Yeah.
straddling him. That's a very again metaphorically graphic, not
Yeah.
actually graphic. Uh,
Right, but that ooh, yeah, it sort of gives me the ick. It gives me like a physical reaction how she's just like digging into she's like mulching his back
yeah.
there.
I guess it's a variation on nails in the back, I guess.
Yeah.
I noticed Swamp Thing does offer Abby a tuber, but I don't think she ever takes a bite out of it.
Mm,
So I kind of implies that, Abby is spicing things up on her own here.
right. Yeah.
So then bottom of the page, two-page spread, we have uh, Constantine is meeting a geomancer. Um, so what Freddie, I think they give his last name here, but he's a scientist and also, an earth magic guy. That's
Yeah.
what yeah.
And wearing a toga for reasons unbeknownst to me.
Yeah, in magic? I don't know.
Yeah. Also jacked.
Also jacked, yes.
Yeah.
But you got the magic and you got the microscope, so you have some science in here too.
Hmm. Yeah. And then he's his place is all decorated with masks and sculptures, different,
Yeah.
look like tribal artifacts.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Can we talk about clay?
Yeah.
I only have a very basic understanding of clay because I'm an engineer, not a geologist, but I do work with it, and you have to kind of understand some of the principles of it. I've done some geotechnical classes, so I know clay is kind of like very fine particles, very very fine. The smallest particles you have, they're kind of like plates. Um, some have been created by being ground down by glaciers, and they've been ground down so far that some of their atomic bonds are actually severed. So that's
Wow.
so that they can kind of bond with plates above and below them. So it's not just a physical friction bond; it's like an actual atomic bond of some sort. Um, they also kind of will grab onto water molecules and what's called a double layer, so that they're actually clay and like two layers of water there that are kind of like they're bigger than they actually appear because they're
Okay.
kind of bonded with the water, and they prevent water from flowing through them because they grab onto the water that would flow through the space between them. There's also an article called or inorganic and organic clays or lean clays and fat clays. Fat clays are something like bentonite or many of the clays that you'll find in the south, which will swell when wet. Lean clays don't typically swell. There's a Adver limits test that tells you the difference between them, but we won't get into that. But fat clays swell, and that's why you don't find basements in the south because the clays will
Wow.
swell and wreck your basement.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you get all that, and that kind of tied into what he's saying here that these kind of clay kind of act as like computer chips. Now, I don't think
Right.
that's how computer chips actually work, but it is something along the lines of what Nigel Neal came up for fictionally in the stone tape, which is the stone tape theory. It kind of was a fictional idea that he introduced that kind of been glommed onto. It's like ghosts are not actually spirits, but they're kind of like recordings that have been imprinted on stone that under certain circumstances can be projected out randomly. So I kind of feel like this is the same sort of idea there. Now, I'm sure Stephen Bissett is familiar with stone tape, and by uh, transitive property of math, I think maybe Rick Veitch knows that, but I don't know if that's the idea there. But
Hmm.
anyhow, that's kind of the idea I get, though I'm dubious of that actually functioning that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
I mean, this whole theory he's talking about it's all new to me. Yeah.
But anyhow, the main idea, which we get to the next page, is like there's a big deposit of clay in Slaughter Swamp, so that's probably going to be the where the plane crashes if they want to pull this off. Or Monarch Airlines is going to crash. It's probably going to crash in this spot in Slaughter Swamp. So somebody will be on this plane that they may want to connect with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what wraps
Huh,
up the top
yeah.
of the next page. Um, and it's Constantine. He's not really going to try to stop the plane crash. So,
Right.
which is kind of a hero would stop it. Constantine kind of like, I'm not really a hero.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he's saying, well, yeah, he says at the end of this scene, "I'll just be playing Hearts and Flowers,"
Yeah,
which I'm not sure exactly what that
I think
means.
it's a funeral song for comforting the living.
Okay.
So
Well, yeah, I kind of wonder though if he is planning to intervene in some way or like get this information to someone who can. And if not, then like, why is he so eager to find out ahead of time?
yeah, I mean I think
Yeah.
it's it's he knows it's all connected up with Swamp Thing and
Uh-huh.
the spirit. I don't think he knows about the elemental sprout yet and what Constantine's up what Swamp Thing is trying to do, but Constantine has his way. There's a method to his madness.
Yeah.
Middle's here. We get back to Swamp Thing and Abby, and flowers are sprouting out of Swamp Thing, so it's getting metaphorically explicit.
Yeah. Yeah, she's essentially just gardening in his back. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, she's got her hands like fully dug in
Yes,
those two panels.
all the way
Yeah.
in. And Swamp Thing is clearly enjoying it,
Yeah.
getting a physical reaction from him.
Uh-huh.
And the bottom tier is Constantine is visiting a spiritualist or a spirit channeler at a Holiday Inn in Gotham.
Yeah.
Which is I kind of feel like it's unconventional, but I feel like it's perfectly in tune with Constantine there.
Uh-huh.
She does not recognize she's an actual spirit channeler. She probably thinks she's a fake one.
Right. I mean, yeah, she's doing the stage show. She's got like a rhinestone studded outfit on. It's yeah.
She's given
Seems very
she's given very
performative thing.
non-specific, yes, information until Constantine shows up and asks her to summon Blackbriar Thorn, and uh, yeah, I mean, I like Blackbriar Thorn kind of insults the spiritualist right away, calling her very shallow and empty.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get to that. I know who Blackbriar Thorn is very briefly because he had showed up in an issue of DC Comics Presents, uh, which had Superman and the Demon teaming up to defeat Blackbriar Thorn. It was issue number 66, I think, from October 1983. So about 4 years prior. It was written by Len Wein, Swamp Thing's creator. It was drawn by Joe Kubert. And,
Hmm.
it got to be one of the rare times where they got Joe Kubert to actually draw a superhero story. I mean, he
Okay,
would he
yeah.
would do it occasionally. He'd do some covers for Batman. He did a short sequence in Batman number 400, but he
Oh,
did a sequence Superman versus Hawkman in Justice League of America number 200. But generally Joe kept to the war comics and adventure comics side of things, not the superhero comics.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I guess Ragman is kind of in between. I know Joe drew the
Ooh,
original one back in the 70s, but I most closely associate Joe with Sergeant Rock or Enemy Ace if you pushed me. But
okay. Yeah, I mean, Sergeant Rock is the one character I know like most as Joe Kubert's thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you know, war comics were coming to an end, so Joe had to kept busy too. So
yeah.
the 80s were not a big period for war comics, and that especially World War II war comics.
Uh-huh.
I think Marvel's Vietnam was a big war comic from the 80s to the 90s, but the World War II comics were on their way out.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, in the 2000s, Joe would get back to Tor, the prehistoric adventure comic. So,
Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess I've seen that one too.
but he would kind of follow the Will Eisner path too, and do some kind of autobiographical comics too, like Jew Gangster, and that. But anyhow,
Huh.
that has very little to do with this. This was a Superman in the
Sure.
Demon verse, Blackbriar Thorn.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's your regular reminder that Rick Veitch was a member of the Joe. Well, he attended the Joe Kubert School, like
Hmm.
many of the artists on Swamp Thing during this time period, and really
Yeah.
many of the artists from like the 70s till now have
Right.
attended the Joe Kubert School before they went into comics. Although most of them don't draw quite like Joe Kubert.
Yeah. But yeah, it is kind of to yeah, at least to the big two comics, it's sort of the pipeline that like uh what is it like RISD or I guess Cal Arts is for like Disney animation.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. So this was the Joe Kubert School was the pipeline. Although now that DC's moved to California, maybe not quite so much.
Yeah.
But you could tell that many of them, and I think for the better, they learned from Joe and the other
Yeah.
artists because Joe knew how to tell a story. Joe knew how much detail to put into a page. And like
Uh-huh.
sometimes the background could just be a square or a color,
Yeah.
and that would be enough.
Hmm.
Uh, Anyhow, that's what's going on with that. We have Blackbriar Thorn. He's given Constantine information about nature being out of balance. Um,
Hmm.
so you would think this would be earlier, so he knew what he was doing rather than or why he was doing what he was doing, because he was gathering information before he actually needed it, maybe. But I do like Johnny's on the job for a statement for Constantine. That's the closest that John ever got to a catchphrase, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I guess metaphorically graphic. I feel like I should uh, point out that I'm reminded of Georgia O'Keeffe paintings here of orchids.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that symbology is definitely definitely there.
So, but it's kind of weird that apparently Swamp Thing has multiple sexual organs in this way.
Yeah.
And then we get to the bottom of there. We have Constantine and Rodney, who is a mathematical genius, I guess, um, for pages here. Really about um, uh, Constantine is giving him the lowdown on Crisis on Infinite Earth. So,
I
uh,
was wondering if that's what that was. Yeah.
yes, that is Crisis on Infinite Earth as told by John Constantine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, it has the highlights. They're playing with action figures. And Constantine
Uh-huh.
explaining Crisis on Infinite Earth. And
Yeah.
I'm there for
I
it.
like I like that. It's a sweet side of John. He's getting the info, but he's also just like, yeah, he's making time to just have fun with this kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a purpose, but I mean, this is one of
Yeah.
the exchanges. I should have pointed out, I think I kind of missed reading. No, actually, that's the next page. So, yeah, and I like uh, it's a little bit of a smart ass summary, but I feel that's Constantine too. He's not
Uh-huh.
going to give you a straight summary of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, we can kind of tell that, this is the pre Rain Man thing here. So I kind of feel like, that uh, Rodney is probably autistic. And this is probably when we didn't really have a word for it, or at least it was not in the common culture.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he uses the term idiot savant there, which I
Yes.
think was a common understanding at the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they give him some like physical irregularities too,
Yeah,
which
he has some. I don't know if that's just an ugly pimple or if that's a wart or if he's just been hit on the head. I mean, there's a little bit
yeah.
of yes, there's a little bit of misshapenness about his
Hmm.
head. Um, it's not Downs, but
But it does seem like that's kind of what they're what he's evoking
yeah.
as like a connection to his mental state or his
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that interaction. I like, uh Rodney looks at it, looks at the possibilities and applies what Planck's theorem and so Planck's constant and some other things and comes up with the flight number. So
Right.
flight 007, that's a
007.
and no, then they get to I mean calling it Rodney a genius doesn't sit well with him. It's like idiot savant. So even though it's a compliment, he'd been clearly teased and tormented for a bit because he's different, which feels
Right.
like an autistic thing. Maybe not
Yeah.
understanding language, how language works precisely, but he understands math. But
Uh-huh.
Constantine makes it up for him by saying we're going to play dolls some more, and then they're going to play Millennium.
Yeah.
So that's your explanation of Millennium, which was I think was probably still going on at this time or just ended. Either way,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like that's fun. Again, I kind of feel like I want to adopt Constantine's summaries of big events going forward. I'm surprised they skipped over Legends though. But
Huh.
be that as it may,
Yeah. Only so much
Constantine's
word count.
Constantine's the person that would probably make fun of all the big events too with the superheroes.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? I'm kind of up for that.
Yeah. Which fits the character for sure.
Then we get to um, Abby kind of pollinating Swamp Thing's flower with her breath.
Uh-huh.
Metaphorically graphic.
Yeah. Getting very like microscopic here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will not make the double entendre joke about her blowing Swamp Thing pollen. I guess
Yeah.
I accidentally did, so I did not
Kind of did.
step around it. So.
Yeah.
Then we get to our third reading of this one where we Constantine meets Dog Bump. So I'm going to this reading.
Dogbum? Nah, he ain't here. Big wind came up and blew him down Gotham Avenue, it did. That's not what my intelligence tells me, mate. Since when did Limeys ever know anything about intelligence, mate? Since we started importing French wine. Wet your whistle? Haha. You think the demon grape will loosen my Rothschild 57? God, I haven't seen that since you quit your cushy job in the stock market 15 years ago, innit? Alright, so you done your homework. I'm Dogbum. What do you want? They say you got the gift, that you can see human auras. Some might call it a gift. To me, it's nothing but a burden. You wouldn't believe what I see when I go down in the subway. I believe you, mate. Seen a few things in my day. Yeah, well, once I started seeing auras, I started understanding the truth. Couldn't be around people no more, especially in my job. It was too painful to see the lies that everybody was living. Now it's just me and Snuffy here, and the rest of my dogs. We're happy. Yeah, well, I'm not. See, I got this problem. I need to identify a single passenger on a loaded 747. Someone with a special aura. I could do that for you, but I won't. Listen, Dogbum, I don't blame you for dropping out. I've tossed the idea around more than once. But this is important. The fate of the whole bloody shooting match might be riding on this. Good. Let it all go to hell. I got no reason to get involved. Not even for a case of Rothschild 57? Well, I always did have a soft spot for French wine. At the risk of sounding hackneyed, Dogbum, I think this is the beginning of a fruitful relationship.
And I feel like Constantine doesn't see auras. You kind of wonder if it's very unclear at this time if Constantine really does cast spells or is just smart and he's aware of the supernatural and is running a con on everybody. Because
Hmm.
all I can really say is I know he does see ghosts, but I don't know if you need to be a spellcaster to see ghosts. I also note
Okay.
that Constantine bribes Dog Bum to reveal the stuff with a bottle of expensive wine, French wine, 1957 Chateau Lafite Rothschild. I looked up how much it cost.
Oh, okay.
A bottle these days goes for like $1,300, so it's probably like $130, $150 a bottle in those days.
Whoa.
That was a lot of money to just be tossed around.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
He's been exchanging for the most part, except for the fake medium, who doesn't really do
Yeah.
exchange. He just kind of exposes her as a fake, or
Yeah.
maybe maybe because he doesn't respect her. Although one con man to another should have some little respect. Although maybe Constantine only plays being a con man.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that they settle for a case of Chateau Lafite. So what's a case? What, 12 bottles? So maybe like $2,000 a case is what it looks like.
Wow.
A lot. Where does Constantine have all this money?
Yeah, it's a good question.
But he usually
Huh.
has enough money. He usually has some scratch in his pocket for he can go to the pub, and he's
Uh-huh.
not like hanging out. But he also travels around the world at will, pretty much. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, Hellblazer was kind of getting into it. So and it kind of established like he has money when he needs it. Question is, when does he need it?
Yeah.
But there are times when he doesn't have money and has to figure a way around it. But
Huh.
yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of Constantine. At least we're getting to know more of him. It's like not Alan Moore, where he's the guy that showed up with answers to everything, and he seems to have everything worked out. We see him as a little bit more having to work for his information at this point.
Yeah.
And I like the interaction between Constantine and Dogma. Actually, I like the Constantine interacting with all of his sources of information in this issue.
Yeah.
It's only with like Swamp Thing and Abby that he comes off as particularly assholeish.
Right. Yeah, he's being very antagonistic when he gets to them. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe because he
Huh.
knows he's out of his class power wise, but
Uh-huh.
he's just putting on a big show. But it's
Yeah.
hard to say with Constantine, and that's kind of the joy of Constantine. Like, is he a powerful magician, or is he just a con man that knows just enough?
Yeah.
Both can be true.
Huh.
At various point. 'Cause maybe he's a con man that only occasionally can tap into power.
Yeah.
Oh, I do note that they are under the statue of Swamp Thing in Gotham where they're having a drink.
Right.
So
Which when did that go up?
that went like after the battle between Swamp Thing and Batman that went up. After Swamp
Okay.
Thing was apparently murdered by the uh, DDI agents, that went up then.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's like
Okay, then
issue
I've
55. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, I've read that. I just wasn't sure if that was it or not. Yeah.
which
Couldn't
is
remember clearly.
a nice little. If you're going to put Constantine and talking about what's going on with Swamp Thing somewhere, that's as good a place as any.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah,
course, there's
for
hookers
sure.
around. This being Gotham.
Yeah. Dogbone has some interesting design elements. He's
Yeah.
wearing essentially a monocle,
Yep.
but it's not like your typical circular monocle. It looks like he's wearing like half of a pair of glasses.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
He and Cobblepot ought to hang out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like his background too. He was a hotshot trader
Hmm.
till he started seeing people's auras that he couldn't deal with being on Wall Street anymore
Yeah.
because all the shitty people around him.
Right. Yeah.
Then we have our transition back to Louisiana uh, and see Jean Labastrie witnesses fruit falling from the trees. I can only assume that's a climax of Abby and Swamp Thing's coupling, the falling fruit.
Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't make that direct connection, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Explicitly graphic, or not explicitly graphic, metaphorically graphic.
Right.
Yes. And of course, Constantine just strolled around in the background.
Yeah. There's also in this panel that sort of stretches across the two pages. It looks like, there's like apples and pears falling from the tree.
Yeah,
There's some
giant
giant
pumpkin,
there's some giant strawberries in the foreground. And yeah, then in
giant
the background there's
giant
some
pumpkins,
pumpkins and like
and
a it
some
looks
bell
like a
pepper.
green. Yeah, yeah. That are about the size of a truck,
Yes.
each of them. Yeah.
Well, nature is out of balance.
Yep.
That we kind of break down the three tier, and then the next page is not a three tier. Well, it is a three tier, but it's all one scene. It used
You're
to be
right.
three.
This is, I think, maybe the first one where you get one scene
Yeah, I
going
think
across all three of those panels.
yes. Won't be
Yeah.
the last. They're getting close to it, but
Hmm.
Abby gets dressed thankfully before Constantine shows up.
Yeah.
you know,
Just moments before.
Constantine strolling in to their place of privacy is uncomfortable, but it's not truly crossing the line.
Yeah, if only by virtue of timing.
Virtue timing.
Yeah.
Coming and eating that proverbial apple. Is that forbidden fruit?
Yeah.
She's eating from the tree of knowledge. And he kind of explained it to Abby and Alec what's going on here. So kind of bringing everybody up to speed.
Hmm.
Um, that he knows what's going on, and he's actually ahead of Swamp Thing again. Although it turns out that Swamp Thing actually has a secret from Alec where he stashed Sprout, and,
Right.
I feel that's turnabout is fair play.
Uh-huh.
So um, I like that. Abby gets ahead, or Alec gets ahead of Constantine for just a little bit here.
Yeah.
And I like it. I always like the interaction between Constantine and Swamp Thing, even if they said Constantine could be an a-hole.
Yeah.
And then we get to our last page here, which is our most traditional page of the issue.
Uh-huh.
No longer the two-page spread,
Yeah.
which is Chester is trimming what is apparently the sprout hidden in his marijuana bush in his yard.
Right. Yeah, so this is what what Swamp Thing is alluding to on the previous page,
Yep.
and what we saw at the very,
And
back on page one.
yeah, it gives us an explanation of what we were seeing at page one.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a weird plant. It was the sprout in the weird plant. And I don't think Chester trimming the plant's gonna hurt it.
No. Doesn't
Hurt the,
seem like it. But he
and
does seem to notice that this thing has like an eyeball
yes, he does.
looking at him.
And you know what? I figure he's not gonna keep in Chester's mind for very long anyhow.
No.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay. Back to reading.
Yeah.
And of course he gets a sense of satisfaction from hearing Liz tapping away at the typewriter. So a plan has come together for him.
Yeah.
I guess another exchange of this issue. The
Huh.
typewriter got Liz going again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
So you can see that that Chester is very satisfied. So that's a good bit of uh, art by Rick Veitch there, because just giving that, there's a lot of artists that can't make that facial expression work for them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's good.
yeah,
So okay, so we established that's what Swamp Thing has done with the sprout.
yep,
He's bonded it to this weed plant.
Yes,
Chester's
we'll use weed plant.
Chester's backyard. Yeah. But so previous page, there's a close up on Constantine flicking his lighter, and the flame that comes out has a little face, like how Veatch has been drawing the sprout in
Yeah,
previous
he
issue.
does.
What do you make of that?
Well,
I'm really not sure.
I'm not really sure. I think it's just a fun bit of detail.
Okay.
Maybe it's like, yeah, I have it all figured out, and I know how the sprout is connected to all this,
Uh-huh.
but
Huh.
I think it's just a fun detail.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, that
Huh?
brings us right to the end here.
Yeah, right to the end. So thoughts on the issue as a whole?
Yeah, it seems like kind of the opening of a new storyline. I would
Yeah,
say this is so far. I think this is like the cleanest break between like what happened in a previous issue and what's going on in this one.
yes. I mean, I feel like reintroducing Constantine back in gave us a break from the overall narrative so far.
Hmm.
Because Swamp Thing and Abby, well, they do one thing this issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Constantine has been Johnny on the spot, gathering information and moving the story forward, at least to the
Uh-huh.
next phase.
Yeah.
I do think the two-page spreads, I think that idea works with the three tiers. It's unconventional, but hey,
Yeah.
it's a pain in the ass to transcribe. But I'll tell you what, I think it works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Veach he seems to try like a different little formalist idea with each issue.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't think we see that too often these days. I wish I saw it more.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of feel like there was a time, probably about a decade ago, when everybody was trying to basically do storyboards of a movie, and
Uh-huh.
that has kind of ended. But I don't think we're back to this level of experimentation yet and
Yeah.
formalism. But that might be just my opinion. I wasn't reading the right comics,
Right.
and
Yeah.
your mainstream superhero comics were never that formalistically inventive to begin with.
Hmm.
I mean, Watchmen was formalistic, and Dark Knight Returns were formalistic, but most everything else, not very.
Yeah.
You would have to go to the Independents or a book like Swamp Thing for that. And
Right.
I'm glad we have it.
Yeah.
And I like seeing the peek behind the curtain and how Constantine operates. I mean, it is more his issue than Swamp Thing's,
Yeah, very much.
which they were giving him a push, and this is still a Swamp Thing book. I mean, he's been moving the story along so far, and Constantine's assisting, I feel, but I think the prime mover is Swamp Thing. He's just taking a break this issue.
Right.
But I think we
Oh, and
got it.
so yeah, and I guess I don't know if we kind of got to this, but it seems like that he has an idea that a person on this plane that's going to go down is potentially going to bond with the sprout.
Yeah, it's a good candidate to bond.
Yeah.
And he kind of knows the plane. He doesn't know the person yet. And he doesn't know if the plane is actually going to go down or if a superhero is going to interfere. That's why he needs the information from a Huntoon on where the superheroes are. Because,
Oh, okay.
saving a plane is something that you would think Superman would be good at.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you never know. There's usually wheels within wheels, but they don't know who is the person going to bond with the Sprout, and if the plane is actually going to go down, or if it's just going to have some troubles.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
things are still up in the air a little bit. Excuse the
Uh-huh.
pun.
Yeah.
Um, which brings up next issue.
Yeah.
The Swamp Thing number 71 is entitled Fear of Flying. I wonder what that's going to be about.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I'm going to probably have to look up the Eric Young novel, that I know where they got the title from, to see if it has any uh, relationship to it.
Huh, okay.
I know there's a lot of sex in that novel, but I don't know much else about it.
Huh.
There was a lot of sex in this
Interesting.
issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Between, centerfolds, Constantine and Brenda,
Right.
Bumpy and Abby.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole through line there.
Yes, we don't see that much these days.
Yeah.
We're kind of, I won't say that we're in a puritanical period. I don't really believe that, but it's certainly not as much as it was in the late '80s or in the '90s, and when we had erotic thrillers.
Yeah.
So this is not a book that was published last year.
Right.
So, yeah, but I'm happy. I think things are moving along. I think everybody's in character. Things are happening. The overall plot line is still going, and there's no clear indication on how it's going to resolve yet. So I think that's a good bit of storytelling by Rick Veitch. And I'm happy to see these inventive, formalistic page layouts. So, and there's nothing wrong with the art in this issue either. So it's a good
Yeah.
issue. I think this book is humming right along at this point.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's cool. It's always doing
it
something
is,
creative and just like experimental each time.
yes. And
Yeah.
I think that's helping it. You know, this is a major artistic book, and I feel like it's still a major artistic book when you look at it that way.
Hmm.
Like, how is it
Yeah.
laid out? And the story I think is good, but how it's laid out I think is something that, again, uh, you want to understand how comics works. This is a good example because you say this is what some of the things that you can do with comics other than just lay it out like a 9 panel grid.
Hmm.
And even the nine
Yeah.
panel grid works, and sometimes it works more when you use it repeatedly
Yeah.
with variations.
Huh.
I
Yeah.
feel like this 18 panel grid, 2 page spread structure is kind of a response to Watchmen too.
Yeah.
Like,
Because that would have what probably had like just wrapped up
yeah, I would wrap up
a few
like,
months earlier.
yeah,
Yeah.
like in July. So
Okay.
it's within half a year of it.
Yeah.
This is probably about the same month that the graphic novel would be published to bookstores.
Okay. Yeah.
I recall it being like a Thanksgiving Christmas release along with Dark Knight Returns.
Huh.
But that would probably no, Dark Knight Returns would have been the previous year. So Watchmen would have been this year.
Okay.
So that would probably those are the two big graphic novels that kind of really made it a thing at the bookstore.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like, okay, this is a reaction to Watchmen in its own way.
Huh. Yeah.
Anyhow, I think that's probably my thoughts so far. In the meantime, you can subscribe to Swamp Things on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Spotify, and wherever else you can find podcasts. Also, please feel free to like or share the link wherever you see it. You can follow Swamp Things on Twitter/X at Swamp Things Pod. And if you like, feel free to send an email to swampthingspod@gmail.com. Yeah, if it's like, and if you want to be a volunteer reader, please send me a message. Finally, if you like what you hear, please leave us a review or rating on iTunes. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
Much beauty in the swamp, if you only look.